Okay, my couture crafters, let's get into this series of cards. So I used my plaid tidings paper pack that I got from Hobby Lobby last year. I think I got this to make my December daily. Apparently, I really like plaid. No surprise there. So I'm just ripping out the pages that I think are pretty, no rhyme or reason. I don't even remember how many I ripped out. I think it was like 6 or 7 sheets. Just flipping through, grabbing the ones that I think are nice. I'm thinking about doing another December daily. I don't know why I never finished them, but they're pretty, they're fun. You guys like them. So maybe I'll do one. I've actually got an idea for what I want it to look like. So we shall see. So these are the ones that I chose, and I used my Cricut to cut out the card base and the card front panel. And here I'm doing, I thought the first one was 5 1/4, so it looks like I'm doing these are just to go on the inside. So I guess I'm just cutting square panels that are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm doing the same thing here because we are going to mix and match a little bit. This is just some green and red cardstock that I have from Michael's. Nothing special there. And we cut out a couple of sheets to go on the inside of the card. And there again, I just cut an oval. You can do this with a die. You don't have to cut a hole at all, actually. But the link to my Cricut file will be down below. And I used my Cricut to score also, just with the regular pen scoring. I didn't put in the roller score in my maker. And I'm using that brand new Teflon bone folder. I like it. I haven't reached for my first original one at all. I don't know why. They're pretty much the same, although this one has different tips on it. So we fold over all the cards, and then we figure out which plaid we want to go with which card base. And then I used wet glue. If you ever think you're going to need to wiggle a little bit, use wet glue. It gives you a few more seconds as opposed to using that tape runner. And we just plop it on the front. Nice, easy peasy. These cards are weird in the sense that people are like, where are you going to write your sentiment? Well, sometimes I don't have a whole bunch to say to people. So just write it on the side and call it a day. If not, you can certainly tape or glue a sheet of paper to the whole side. And that way you can't see through the card. But that's not fun. I love cards where the sentiment is on the inside and the outside at the same time. So, again, it's a strange card, but, it's me. So you're going to get something that's kind of weird. And this card is weird. If you want to write a long sentiment or a message, you can write on the back. Be creative. Don't just be stuck to what you know traditionally. So I'm using my ATG gun here to just hurry up and throw some stickiness down for the card on the inside. These were the squares that we cut out just a second ago. And now we have a liner for the inside of our card. I believe these cards measure 5 by 5. I think that's what I did. And here is the star of the show, The Man with the Bag stamp set by Catherine Pooler. If you guys don't know, I love Catherine Pooler. She's the first person to ever acknowledge me who is a big name brand. She's just nice. She's just a nice woman with amazing products. The only thing negative I have to say about Catherine Pooler is that I hate to pay for shipping, but if you can get around that, you are in the game. I just hate to pay for shipping. It freaks me out. But she's coming to all of the local stores, and I'm just happy to see her excelling because she's just wonderful. Just a lovely person. This was a bad idea. Do not stack all the stamps together unless you like this look. What happens is that it's a little bit too spread out in my opinion. But it was fast. But still, it's better to do it one at a time. It takes longer, but you'll see in just a second that it's kind of spaced out a little too much in my opinion. I'm using my Tim Holtz platform. It's not really too spaced out, but it's a little bit spaced out. You'll see on the ones going forward, I do one at a time just to change the spacing up a little bit. I think there's 2 beards and 3 hats, and they're just fun to mix and match. I love this set. The minute I saw it, I knew I had to play with it. I really could do I have some more ideas for it, but time is just not going to allow. You guys know I'm trying to work on quilts to donate. I'm trying to finish this holiday card series. I think this is 5. I think this is going to be the 5th one in the series. You see how I was able to push that one down a little bit further? Yeah, so that way it looks just a little bit cooler. Yes, I really, really like that. So yeah, I think this is card number 5 in the series, which means I've got 5 more to go. I still have ideas, which is great, and I still also have an album that I need to finish. Our holiday album. I'm not going to call it a holiday album because it's not even going to be holiday themed, but there is an album that I want to show you guys how to make. It's the album that I'm going to use for my Disney World trip, and somebody needs to put that sucker together. I've got some ideas on what I want it to look like, but have I done anything except for print those 2 sheets of paper? Nope, I haven't. Pray for me, because again, I've got to finish that. So here again, I'm just mixing and matching, and I'm showing you guys how I do it. I probably could have cut all this out, but sometimes I just want to hang out with you guys a little bit longer. Some people say they like watching the entire process. Some people don't. If you don't, feel free to put me on double time. I watch many of the people that I like on double time. They sound funny, or you can cut the volume off and just watch. And sometimes you want to grab a cup of tea and some popcorn and you just want to hang out. So whatever your preference is, I get it. For this one, I opened it up because I thought the hat was going to hang over just a little bit, and I did not want to stamp on the front of the card. You see how that, see the little bobble on the hat kind of is close. So I opened that card. And that's one of the great things you can do with the Tim Holtz platform. Now I'm giving the beard a little bit of a warmer gray. I don't know why I wanted it warmer gray. I kind of wanted it to look like I don't want to say dirty, but I don't know. The dimension that I wanted to give it, instead of giving it a traditional cool gray, I wanted to give it a warm gray. I don't know why, but I did. And there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. If you are a Copic colorer, you are probably cringing because I'm sure I'm doing it wrong. It's not really what I do, but I try. So there are some that are stamped outside of the cards, and like the ones up there, because we're going to cut those out and glue them down. And then there are some that are taped down, like this one that I'm coloring currently. I very rarely show my Copic coloring, but I go from the darkest, no I don't, I go from the lightest color to the darkest back up, or I go the other way, obviously, because I think right now I'm going from the darkest to the lightest. I just throw down color, whatever I feel. I'm sure there are rules to this, but in crafting, are there really rules? Probably in Copic coloring, but I don't know what they are, nor am I going to stress myself out about it. I'm just trying to add some depth to it. I own Copic markers, and gosh darn it, I'm going to use my Copic markers, so that's what it is. So I've colored them all with reds and greens. I wish that I had chosen kind of a darker green, although in person that has a very bright yellow on that plaid. So some of them are a little bit, well, I guess they're all right. You know, they're cool. Doesn't bother me too bad. A little bit of coloring here, a little bit of coloring there. For the white on the top, I'm playing with some blues. Just doing stuff, guys. Do not be scared to use your stuff. I'm not saying what I'm doing is right. Probably what I'm doing is very wrong. But just use it. Play with it. It's only one way to figure out how this stuff works, and that's to use your stuff. So again, I never really show my Copic coloring, but this time, for whatever reason, this is what happens when you're editing super late at night. You just let stuff go. So I'm going to keep babbling while we are watching me color, or not. Maybe you have fast forwarded through this part, which I completely understand. But now it is time to cut these puppies out, cut out the other ones. And I'm going to use my Gemini Junior to do that. What I did to make sure that I got a really perfect lineup was I ran the die without trying to cut out anything. And now I'm going to take the paper, put it right around the image, and then we're going to drop the die into that little knot, that little hole right there, so that I know exactly where it's being lined up. So I'm just taping that piece of paper down to the other piece of paper, and it's got the hole in there. And then I can just see, I just took the piece of paper, put it around the stamped image so that I know exactly where that's going to stamp out. Yes, you can just tape it down. This is just a trick. When there's a lot of white space that's around the image, sometimes you don't know exactly what's about to cut out and you want it to be even. So this is a way to get it exactly where you want it. And then I'm using this purple tape. This purple tape comes off like a dream. It is some of the best reusable tape you will ever find. I keep saying I want to get more, but I don't know why, because I use it and then I just store it. Then I use it again, then I just store it. You really don't have to throw it away. The only thing I don't like about the Gemini is the way you have to do this sandwich. There's a magnetic plate in there that you must use, and you can't see. You can't just put it in there and see where you're going, and that annoys me, but I have figured out how to make it work. And so we just fidget with these and remove the removable tape. I do it carefully because it's still taped on there. And now we have some with a little dimension on it. These would have been really cute if I had popped them up on foam. So if you can, use a little dimensional adhesive behind it and see what comes of it. I think that would be a cute addition to these cards. So I'm just using my little tweezers here and popping the stuff on with my art glitter glue, the best glue for paper crafting ever, in my opinion. And I'm putting the card in there, putting my magnets down, and then I'm going to choose which sentiment I want and line that puppy up and use my stamp platform. You do not need a stamp platform to do what I'm doing today. These are clear stamps. You can see right through them. I own a stamp platform, so I use my stamp platform. Imagine that. I didn't get the best impression the first time. You see the H? It's not showing. And now it is. You can absolutely line up stamps twice without having a stamp platform. But in this day and age, I really think you should just have a stamp platform if you think you want to play with stamps. It has so many different uses. And I really suggest getting the Tim Holtz stamp platform because you can stamp anywhere on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper with it. The Misty is great. It's the original. I get it. However, this Tim Holtz stamp platform really is, I think, the better of the two. I do my envelopes in there and all kinds of stuff. With the Misty, they have larger ones, but that sucker is expensive. Misties are expensive. I want to say for the little one that I have, I think I paid $70-$80 for it. And for the Tim Holtz platform, I think I paid $30 for it. Somewhere around there. So there's a big price difference. And again, the Tim Holtz stamp platform has something that you can open and close it with. The Misty, I'm not going to say that he didn't approve upon the design. I'm going to say that he took it, but I'm not going to say that he didn't improve upon it. So again, if you can still find the Tim Holtz platform, I would get that one. The larger one. The smaller one is cute, but the larger one, I think it's just opening up your options, keeping your doors open. Now I'm just gluing these on with the art glitter glue. And now I think we are going to just take a look at them. Isn't that cute? I love that. You can certainly write a sentiment around the sides of that. A little Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Glad to know you. Just a little something. Aren't these guys cute? Oh, I just love them. I started to put some holly and all kinds of things around the outside. But you know what? I'm kind of a minimalist in my designs a lot of the time. Not all the time. But I don't put a whole bunch of stuff on my cards. A lot of my cards are clean and simple, and I'm okay with that. Although I've got some ideas going forward to do some Sherry Baldy or not Crafter's Companion. Is that the Crafter's Companion? And I bet you those are not simple, but we shall see. Now I am getting ready to make the envelopes. I cut it down to whatever size was required. I don't remember. It's on the chart. And these are just the envelopes for the cards. I, of course, make a box too, but this is just the envelope. You punch, turn. I grabbed a couple of different colors. I grabbed red. I think I grabbed green. And this craft. They used to sell craft in 12 by 12 at Michael's, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I just knew they would have it for the holiday season, but that was a fail. So I'm annoyed. The reason why I'm bending it a little bit right here is so that I can see that line. With this light on, I can't really put my head where I need to put my head while I'm taping to see where those lines are. So those are all of my envelopes, and now I'm just going to fold them all over with this Teflon bone folder. You guys, Teflon bone folders are expensive. However, they are worth it. I don't know why they don't crack up your paper. I don't know why they don't scar your paper, but if you use a plastic one, you will see that your paper changes sheens where you touch it, and that's not cool. So I use double-sided adhesive right here. I usually do this for all of my envelopes, and bam, it fits. It's pretty. It works. That's the 1/4 inch tape that I love, and I use Stacy tape. So you know that all of my envelopes have to be coordinating. Sometimes I go in, sometimes I just do a little something something. For these, I'm just doing a little something something because I don't have the time to really put into an envelope the way that I want to today. And this is a set. Anytime I do a set, it seems like it takes so much longer to film and to make than just a regular card, which is why when I do sets, my videos are usually about 30 minutes long, 25 to 30 minutes long. But I show you guys a bunch of stuff, and you will always get a tip or trick out of me if you watch the whole thing. So kudos for you guys. I decided to do a few different styles of the hat, all the different styles, I guess. And now I'm doing this little guy. Again, because I've assembled this envelope, you should really do your stamping before you put it all together if you do not have a stamp platform. Again, if you do not have a stamp platform, stamp on your envelope before you assemble it, because you probably will not get the best impression because it's not completely flat on the back. Be careful with that. I can't tell you that enough. And there we go. Look, all the little hats. Cute. They match. So now we have matching envelopes, and now we're going to tie a ribbon around these. Just to keep them all contained. Nothing too special. I'm sure you have some ribbon around somewhere. If you don't have ribbon just stashed at your house, why are we friends? Because it's just not right. This is just some stuff that I had hanging over from Michael's, and I'm moving my hands very awkwardly right now, and watching me do things with my nails annoys my mother to no end, so it's probably annoying some of you all. Usually my nails don't stop the show. However, when tying ribbon, well, it gets a little funky. Am I going to cut my nails? Probably not. Right this very second, they're too long. My nails usually stay between 1 inch and 5/8 of an inch long. It's a thing. But right now they have grown out and they need to be done, and I will deal with that this week. But watching me tie this is probably going to drive you insane. I probably should have done this off camera, but you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And that's just what it is. So I'm going to put my little finger there and tuck it underneath like I always do. I don't know why this is, what's funny is I'm pretty sure this is sped up, and this is how slow I'm really moving. I cannot believe how slow I move to do things sometimes. It is what it is. I thought I had cut all this out, but apparently I didn't. So you guys are literally watching me tie this little ribbon, and I apologize for it because I'm sure it's driving you guys insane. But the box is coming up shortly, so just hang in there with me. If you guys still want to make requests about what you want to see going forward, I have a couple more ideas, but I don't know that I have enough to finish the series. I know that I have 2 cards, maybe 3 more, which brings me to what? Like 8. So then there's 2 that are still pending. If there's something you guys want to see, if there is a set that you want me to hurry up and try to get, let me know. Let me know. If there is a Cricut file that you guys want me to create, I'm actually not opposed to busting one of those out too. I don't know where I think I'm going to get all this time from. I think it is ludicrous that I even say these things, but every now and then you guys will say something that makes me say absolutely, or I get inspired by, so let's do it. I totally should have cut about a whole 2 minutes out of this video. Sorry guys. If you're still with me, let's make this box. I am going to measure the cards, and it looks like it goes to, the envelopes measure about 6 by 6. A 6 by 6 square, and it does. And now we are going to make this box. So I grabbed my 1, 2, 3 punch board. I'm looking for 6 by 6 right here. Whatever the number says, I increase it by an inch. So if it says cut it down to, 9 by 9 to make a 6-inch envelope, we are going to cut it to 10 by 10. I peeled that paper off the back so we won't see that. And I slowed this down on purpose because I really want you guys to be able to see how to make this box. I have a couple of tutorials about how to make liners and boxes, but again, you use whatever number and you increase it by an inch. So it looks like I'm doing 10 3/4 right here. So maybe it was 9 3/4. Not sure. Go by the dimensions on the box, the 1, 2, 3 box, 1, 2, 3 envelope maker. And we'll rotate this around and we will cut again. You guys see how slow I'm moving? This is probably real time. I don't think this is actually sped up. This is how I craft. I craft, slow and steady. All right, so now we're going to grab the punch board, and this is where the magic happens. If you guys don't have this, I suggest you get it, because there's nothing like a handmade envelope, especially if you're doing funky card sizes. I'm not an A2 girl, so it's not always easy to just run into the store and get an envelope that is the proper size for whatever my project is. I love making my own envelopes. Okay. So for the envelope that is 6 by 6, it's going to tell you where you're going to score. You are going to score that first line where they tell you to score. Then you are going to move 1 inch from wherever that line is. You're going to punch and score again. That's the trick. That's the secret to making a box. Whatever that first score line is for the 6 by 6 envelope, you are going to do that, and then you are going to do everything else like you always do. You are going to turn your sheet of paper, line up that notch with the first line, and score and punch. Then you are going to move it, and you are going to score and punch again. Score and punch, score and punch. You're going to rotate, do the same thing on the other side. Increasing, don't look at your measurements any longer. After you have used the first notch and the second notch, you really don't need to look at your measurements any longer. Just trust the board. You're going to place that little notch and you are going to rotate it, and magic should happen. Again, I've slowed this down so that you can really see what's going on as far as making this box. Hopefully you can see that I have 2 score marks on the 2 score marks on the bottom of this. Can you see the 2 score marks? That's what's going to make our box. Perfect. Now all we have to do is notch the sides. Notching the sides kind of confuses people too. You are going to look at your envelope, and it's scored all the way down through there, right there. You see that? We are going to cut straight on that score line on either side. Then you're going to angle your scissors at like a little triangle, and you're going to try to cut that notch out so that it falls out. You want it to fall out. You don't want to have to pull it like I just did. Point your scissors towards the inside and just cut out a little bit of a notch. You see that? So you're going to cut straight, and then you turn it to the side, and then you get those little triangles. Turn it all the way around and do the same thing to the opposite side. Cut straight, cut it at an angle. Cut straight on that line, all the way up to the line, and then angle it toward the inside and cut at an angle. And those are your notches. People get super confused because I usually have this part super sped up, but this is a tutorial where I obviously have slowed things down considerably. I had a little bit of hangover right there, so we just want to cut that off. And now we are going to fold, fold, fold. You should be folding toward the bump. So there's one side that's indented, and then there's another side that has a bumpy side. You fold toward the bumpy side. That is how you avoid cracking your paper. Some paper is going to crack because it's just crappy paper. But the way to truly try to avoid that is to fold toward the bump. That's the correct way to fold. In order to close up these boxes, I suggest you actually put your item on the inside. It helps. There's a couple of different ways to use adhesive to close up this box. I'm not sure if I use tape for this one or if I use glue. You know me, if you've got a wiggle, glue is probably the way to go. I think I used tape, which is fine. You know, you get what you get. On the other box that I showed, I used glue. I actually think glue is probably the better way to go, but you want to be careful when you have your cards already on the inside and using glue, because you do not want to get that wet adhesive on your cards. So I'm going to close this up the same way I do my envelopes. I am using the 1/4 inch double-sided sticky tape. You can certainly use your tape runner. You can use whatever you have. There's no, you just figure out what makes you comfortable. But again, when using glue, you have to be careful because you don't want any of it to seep out, or you can simply just take out the items. But you get it, And so I put this down, and I think I used a little bit of wet adhesive too, probably on those little tabs down there, so that I had a little wiggle room. Again, if you need to wiggle, you use wet glue. Yep, I'm grabbing for my wet glue here. And we're going to put a little wet glue down on both of those tabs. I see that this is super long now because of how slow we're going here. But hopefully somebody needed to see how to make this box. You can certainly make this box larger. You can get all the way up to whatever will allow you to use a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. So if this one here called for 10 1/4, or for like 9, and I had to increase it to 10, whatever size that you need, as long as it can get you to 12 by 12, actually you can do larger than that if you have the paper, the cardstock to do it. It's up to you, really. So now we're just going to close it up, and there we go. And now I have a box. I wonder what's the largest box I can create that's in this way. I don't know. I have to look at the thing and see. I wonder if I could get all the way up to like a 7 by 7 box. And then I'm just kind of playing with it and looking at it. And I'm going to tuck those things away. Now, what I should have done was decorated the outside of the box prior to folding this up and whatnot, but I did not. I did not do that. So again, you get what you get. Now we are going to add tape to the inside. I recently did a video and I didn't do this. If you are making these for somebody, put this on the inside because they may not be crafty and they may not have this also. So make sure you put this on, just a little release tape on the envelopes. So like I just made those envelopes and I didn't put this on for the person. You guys put this on for the person because there's nothing there to lick and then it gets sticky, or, they have to glue it or seal it. If they are not a stationary person, they might not have what is needed for this. So going ahead and do that. This video is about to be very, very long. I wonder if I grabbed the wrong version because I feel like we should be sped up by now and we are not speeding up. I am not redoing this voiceover. If I'm being 100% honest, I did a voiceover for this before, but I fell asleep in the middle of the voiceover, and you might have been able to hear me sleeping because I was trying to do too much too late at night. So we release that, and then we just close it up, and then we have our box. Again, I should have decorated this box with stamps or whatever I was going to do prior to closing it up or prior to assembling it. So make sure you tuck in your ribbon so that nothing is hanging out. And there we go. Now let's decorate the front of this box. If you are still hanging with me, this is love because I had no idea this video is as long as it is. I thought it was a 20-minute video and somehow we are clearly in a 30. Don't know how that happened. This isn't my norm, but hey, if you are still with me, shout out to you. So I just grabbed one of those oval pieces that was cut out from the Cricut before. This is why you don't throw away your stuff while you're currently working on your project. Wait to throw out your stuff until after you're finished with your project, because you never know when you'll be able to use those scraps. Yes, I'm using a piece of tape. Yes, that's ugly. Yes, I changed it to washi tape. I think I changed it to washi tape. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I wanted to change it to washi tape. I am decorating the outside of this box with twine, and yes, washi tape is definitely a better alternative to that ugly tape that I just used. And I'm sure we all have washi. I think washi is poopies. I am not a washi fan. However, in this case, washi would be better. I can't remember if I did it or if I was just thinking it. I don't remember. But yes, use washi tape. And so I went ahead and adjusted those strings the way I wanted them to be adjusted. Grabbed that red ribbon that was still sitting out. You know, I never really know where my ideas are going. I just sit down and create and then, hope you guys like what's happening. And so you get what you get. So I had no idea what this was going to look like. I just knew I wanted to do a box of cards. And now we have a box of cards. I am sealing this. And you know what? Lately, my wax has been too hot. I always say that. It's like after my wax melts, I have to immediately pour it. I need to wait a few minutes because wax that is super liquid, guess what? It just goes where it wants to go. That is not where I wanted that to go. Actually, I didn't mind this one so bad, but there's another video that's coming where the wax just did not go exactly where I wanted it to go because it was too liquid. So if you guys are sealing stuff, give it a minute. Give it a minute to dry and to cool down so that when you pour it, it's more like syrup and less like water. Let's see what I've got here. I only have the Merry Christmas and the Christmas tree at this time, but thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you on the next